Hi, my name is Michelle Peterson, and I am going to show you guys how to put fondant on a cake. So first things first, you want to make sure you wash your hands. If you have long hair, put your hair up, and an apron helps because it does kind of get messy. And then the things you're going to need are a fondant roller, the fondant, which is actually right here, but this is the box. The fondant smoother. You're going to need a pizza cutter or a fondant cutter, same thing. You're going to need a cake, and make sure it's has icing on it before you start putting the fondant on. You're going to need a ruler and cornstarch. The cornstarch is actually laid out right now, so what it does is help the fondant not stick to anything. And with the cake, just make a regular cake, however size you want, and then ice it over in an even layer. It doesn't matter how thick the icing is, it's just even is the way you want it. Now what you first want to do is you want to take your ruler and you want to measure the diameter plus the height on both sides. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that. So it's 2 on the height, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then the diameter is 9 inches. So we're going to need about 13 inches of fondant to go over here. So what we're going to do first is take the fondant, and you're going to want to knead it for a while. I already started kneading it because it does take a while. You want to do it for about, depending on what fondant you have, you want to do it for about 2 to 5 minutes at most. Now, as you can see, the fondant doesn't stick because of the cornstarch. Another suggestion was, some places say, is to use powdered sugar, but I've heard from other resources that it's actually better to use cornstarch because powdered sugar absorbs faster into the fondant. Okay, so what you want to do is, after kneading it, you want to kind of have it in a circle. Since your cake's a circle, you it's just easier to have the same shape. So after doing that, you want to grab your roller and you want to start in the middle and just kind of start slowly evening it out. And you want to do about 1/8 of an inch thickness on this. That's the suggested use. Now see, I start in the middle and then I push it out. And then just kind of switch sides. It's good to move it around to make sure it doesn't stick because it's a pain to take it off. So you want to start in the middle and push out. And you can use whatever kind of fondant color you want. You could also do white fondant if you want a certain color that you can't find. You just get the white fondant and just get your own kind of coloring, and you can just knead it in. But I chose black because it's a good contrast against the coloring of my counter. And the one thing you want to make sure too is you have enough counter space to do this, because it's going to take a lot of space, as you can see. And you want to make sure your counter space is clean from bacteria and everything. And it's a lot easier if you try to keep it in a circle. just because, especially if your cake's circular, it just makes it a lot easier. But if it's misshapen, kind of like mine, it's fine too because I have a lot of space to drape it over. And also note that the icing that I just use regular cherry icing because that's what I like. But you can use a popular one is buttercream, but I don't really care for that. So for my own personal reference, I just choose a different one. So as you can see, it's starting to smooth out, and you want to have a damp towel on hand just so you can wipe this off, the cornstarch off, after you're done with the rolling. So it makes it a nice even color. You always want to make sure all the sides are even, like this side's still a little thicker, so just want to make sure I get that. Okay, so it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. You can test it out just by the little rings that come with this. This is the 1/8 inch, and it's just about that size. So I can go ahead and do the next step. So the next thing I'm going to do is just wipe it off. And you don't want it too soaked with water, just a little damp, just to kind of wipe it off a little bit. Because as you start smoothing it out on the cake, it will actually just start coming off that way too. Okay, so that's good enough. So now next thing I want to do is I want to roll this on top. It up. Just like so. And then create the screen. And then just kind of now you just kind of want to smooth it out, make sure it's kind of even on every side. All this extra stuff's okay, we're just going to be cutting it off with the pizza cutter. So just kind of smooth it out for a little bit, make sure it's all there. Okay, and then you want to get this first, and you want to just start kind of smoothing it out, getting all the air bubbles out. Because it does happen, and that's why sometimes you just want to get a needle or a little knife and just poke a little hole in it, and it'll help. See, I can feel air bubbles in here. So what I do is just grab a little needle and just do that, and then I just rub it over. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing the sides. So because this cake, I made it a little bit smaller than what normal people do. It's only 2 inches high. Normally they're about 4 inches, but 2 inches makes it easier to have this even all the way around the sides. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub the sides with this. smooth it out. And while I'm doing it, you want to kind of feel for air bubbles. You can kind of tell when you start feeling them. So there's now what you want to do is you get the pizza cutter and you just kind of, you want to do little chunks at a time. You don't want to just go all the way around to cut this. So you just kind of go in a line around this. As you see, it's a lot easier to do it that way, especially when you have this extra left over. And you can use these extras to use little designs and stuff too. You don't want to just waste it. So like, you can do really cool designs with it. And a lot of fondant packages will have like ideas on how to do stuff. Or you can just Google or YouTube. There's always something out there that you can get ideas from. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the frosting that was left over. Okay. And then I'm going to get my damp towel again and just kind of clear out the white powder. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this again. And you can do like little circles, you can just kind of go back and forth with it, right and left. Whatever you're more comfortable with, whatever works. And then you want to do the sides. You want to do really good on the sides. So that's the important part. Because it gets messy there really fast. So as you can see, it's really smooth over here now, compared to like over here, like it's still a mess over here. But this side is looking really good. And just kind of give it one more time, just wiping off the frosting. And like I said before, if you don't want to waste the fondant, take advantage of it being rolled out already and just do little designs with it, little flowers or little edges or something with it. Could work really well. Alright, and that is how you put fondant on a cake. Thank you.